Good evening. I would like to call this meeting of the Board of Education to order. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education is on Tuesday, June 9th at 7:30 p.m. For the chairperson's report tonight, thank you all for being here tonight. As we are heading into the final weeks of the 2025-26 school year, I would like to congratulate all of our students on your achievements and participation in our many year-end concerts, art shows, the upcoming Theater 308 production, the DHS Science Symposium, the Quiz Bowl Nationals Tournament, and to our DHS athletic teams participating in postseason FCX playoffs and championships. Last week at the DHS Scholarship and Awards Night, I also had the honor of presenting the annual Darien Board of Education Award for a student interested in the field of education and the Chairman's Book Award for academic achievement and service. Congratulations to all of our students who participated in these awards ceremonies. We are so proud of all of our students and join you in celebrating your accomplishments as the 25-26 school year enters the final stretch. Congratulations. Thank you. Now to public comment.
If anyone would like to participate in public comment, please approach the podium and wait to be recognized. Once recognized, please state your name and town of residence and note that you will have up to 3 minutes to comment. We have no participants this evening.
Now for the superintendent's report, Dr. Byrne.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the May 26th Board of Education meeting. Thank you to our members of the board who were able to attend the Learning Walks last week at Darien High School. An additional thank you to the Darien High School teachers who opened up their classrooms for the visits and the admin team for leading the discussions. Last Thursday, Dr. Fedigan, myself, and a team from across our elementary schools attended the last and final session of our Science of Reading course. It was a very informative day and a very helpful course for us to participate in across the school year. I'd also like to share some fantastic news from our Quiz Bowl program. About a dozen members of the Middlesex Quiz Bowl team, along with one Hindley fifth grader, traveled to Orlando, Florida to compete in the IAC Elementary and Middle School National Championships. Our students competed against more than 2,200 students from across the country in math, science, geography, and history Bs, specialized exams, and team bowls. We had students win national championships, compete in the playoffs, quarter, and semifinals, and place in the top 10, and the middle school academic bowl team advanced to the national playoff rounds. I'd like to congratulate all of our student competitors, their families, and our coaches. And that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Byrne. The student representatives report, Kyle or Ryan?
Yeah, last week, our DHS students and faculty hosted their annual art show, as well as a science symposium and their student productions in the theater. Tonight, our girls and boys lacrosse, our boys baseball and girls softball teams all have state semifinal games. So hoping for some good wins there, as always. And next Wednesday, June 3rd, our orchestra will be hosting a small ensemble concert Wednesday night. So looking forward to that as well.
Thank you. Now moving on to presentation, discussion, and possible action with the Darien High School update. And attending, we have Mrs. Ellen Dunn, Ms. Megan Dobe, Mr. Keith Keeler, Mr. Mark Mazzone, and Ms. Allison Mullane. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. And we have many of our department leaders and especially our students involved in the presentation tonight. So we are excited to come to you and provide you with some feedback on some of the excellent work you've done with us over the years. We decided to focus on our elective program. As you know, the Curriculum Council works through new electives, new courses each year. And we appear before you around November sometime and talk about the new courses that we'd like to bring forward. Some of those courses belong in the core curriculum, but many of those courses are in our elective program. And, you know, I learned something 25 years ago when we brought forth the science research course at the high school. We had, as you said earlier, the 25th symposium last week. I'll pass this around to you later. But what I learned was that you really need to put passions and interests before some of the other decisions that we make, you know, in terms of what we want our students to be able to experience and expose them to a great variety of choice. And the science symposium, when we brought that idea forward, I had envisioned that students would go further than what they would do in a core curriculum experience, that they would take some area of interest and explore it and become excited about it, and then possibly go on to college and pursue some of those interests and ideas. I had no idea what they would be able to do. And I learned that 25 years ago, that what we really need to do sometimes is give them the tools, give them experts in the field, and stay out of the way. And allow them to pursue those real passions and interests. And so if you get a chance to look at the book, you'll see even the titles of some of the projects are indecipherable to someone who has a degree in biology. So I do think, you know, what you'll hear tonight is a lot of that. You know, we have given opportunities over the years. We're very proud of that, for students to follow their passions. They come back from college, they talk about, and the advice they give to our current students is to take those electives, take something that you might never be able to take again. I heard one of my college professors years ago say, learn who the best professors are at any college and take all of their classes. It doesn't matter what it is. What do, you know, they're following their passion. They have an interest in their subject, and you will learn, and your pathway may change. And so I really do believe in the power of these courses and the opportunities you're going to hear about tonight. So you see some of the descriptions up there, but you know, this presentation has kind of become known affectionately among the group as Voices and Choices, and really giving voice to our students, because their expression of what these courses have meant to them is more important than what we can say about it. So without further ado, we'll get on to fine and performing arts. And Colleen Thompson is here to present our art and music.
Good evening, everybody. Good to see you. Excited to present some students who are going to speak with you. At Darien High School, our elective program gives students the opportunity to pursue their interests in meaningful and sustained ways. And in the arts, this means students are not only participating, they're creating, performing, leading, and ultimately defining their own pathways. One of the ways we celebrate this is through our Senior Arts Commitment Ceremony, which took place on April 29th. This event recognizes students who have chosen to continue their study of music, visual art, or theater at the college level. Last year, we had 5 students who participated in the ceremony, and this year we recognized 12 students who are pursuing the arts at the collegiate level. We are proud of this growth, and it's a reflection of both student passion and the strengths of our arts programming. When students are given the meaningful choices in their education, particularly through electives, they discover their interests, develop their voice, and gain the confidence to pursue those passions beyond high school. I would like to welcome one of our visual arts students, Tatum Dunn, who will be studying visual art and design at the University of Michigan. While Tatum presents, I'm actually going to walk around with one of her pieces that won Best in Mixed Media at Scholastics last year. So here is Tatum.
Hi everyone, I'm Tatum and I plan to study art and design at the University of Michigan next year. I moved to Darien my sophomore year, and although I had prior interest in art from my previous school, I began taking it more seriously after taking a drawing and painting honors course in 10th grade. This class was challenging as it forced me to experiment with mixing materials, but with practice, I actually ended up developing a style I loved and was proud of, and gaining much more confidence in my work. From there, classes like AP 2D and 3D really pushed me to think more deeply about my work, exploring ideas that felt more personal to me. My junior year, for example, in my AP 2D class, I investigated how embroidery could convey various forms of connection. Today, I brought my mixed media piece called Hopscotch, which was a part of this portfolio. Here I experimented with creating dimension and shape with less conventional materials, such as cardboard, embroidery string, and denim. This piece was also particularly time-consuming, spending almost 20 hours outside of class time working on it and going to 3 different Michaels stores to clear their shelves of their pink embroidery string. It also marked a shift in me as an artist, as I became more fascinated with how non-objective art can invite the ordinary person. When selecting courses for my senior year, DHS gave me the opportunity to do AP 3D art, where I was able to further develop my skills in ceramic sculpture. I had been working with ceramics since freshman year outside of school, but being able to gain new perspective from a teacher challenged me to think more critically about my techniques and processes. Over the course of 3 years, I formed connections with multiple talented art teachers, from being directed by Ms. Samus through my mixed media journey to growing as a ceramicist in Boz's class. The support and uplifting atmosphere of the DHS art department further nurtured my love for the subject and prompted me to pursue art in college. Thank you.
So I'm going to present on David's behalf. I'm grateful now that he didn't choose to play his cello live, as was one of his options. That wouldn't have gone well for me, but David Louis did want to share with you a little bit about his journey. He is a composer, a cellist, and a conductor. You may know his father, Alan, is a physics teacher in our school system. So he has he's taken a lot of classes at DHS, exploring and getting experience leading his orchestra section. He was a guest conductor in one of our concerts, and really uniquely, he actually scored 2 of our dramas. So he wrote music for a piece of theater that doesn't typically have music. So he talks about his path from a cellist to a composer, that it actually began in school, where his middle school orchestra teacher helped him form a small chamber group, giving him time to rehearse and many performance opportunities. I believe that chamber group performed here several years ago when they were in middle school. So now it's kind of exciting to see him pursuing that at the college and career level. He says that one of the pieces that really underscores his development as a composer is the piece he wrote for Abigail's famous monologue in the opening of Act 2 of The Crucible. The piece timed tightly with the monologue and had a silhouetted choreographed dance to accompany it. This required active collaboration with our director, our actress playing Abigail, and the student choreographer, and it shows just the depth of the collaborative experience that our arts programs offer. He says, I've taken on a lot of roles over my 4 years, spanning from scoring dramas to guest conducting. In a lot of these, I was entering a job that I had never done before, but I was given the right tools and resources from teachers to learn on the job. These roles helped me strengthen and connect my technical, expressional, and interpersonal skills. I've been able to combine these musical experiences with other artistic mediums, such as lighting design. But what ties it together is that they started from curiosities that were answered with opportunities to learn as far as my ambition and interest took me. Looking forward, I'm very excited to continue this musical journey at New England Conservatory, where I will be able to further devote myself to writing music and earn my bachelor's in music and composition, and I hope to go on to pursue a master's program in conducting. He says he is grateful to the DHS music program, Mrs. Thompson, Ms. Minnis, as well as the rest of the music and performing arts faculty at DHS for supporting the curiosities and interests that have turned into a career path. Thank you.
Thanks. Christian Dockham is here to talk a little bit about anatomy and physiology, also known as Heart and Soul. The course began, as you might remember, in the 24-25 school year, so it's well on its way.
Excuse me, good evening. So over the past 2 years, anatomy and physiology, Heart and Soul, has become one of Darien High School's most engaging and innovative science electives by providing our students with authentic, hands-on experiences that connect classroom learning to real-world healthcare applications. Through an integrated studies in biology, chemistry, and even a little bit of physics, students develop critical thinking, problem solving, and clinical reasoning skills by participating in the Blue Wave Medical Center simulations. These experiences build confidence in applying scientific knowledge to new situations. The course also fosters empathy, communication, and collaboration through patient-centered learning experiences and exposes students to more than 30 careers in the medical and health sciences field. What began as a proposal to meet growing student interests has evolved into a dynamic program that prepares our students to think scientifically, work collaboratively, and better understand the complexities of human health in the medical field. I'm deeply grateful for the time, passion, and energy that Dr. Erin Ritz, the instructor, has dedicated to making this course such a meaningful and transformative experience for her students. Through her leadership and commitment, the anatomy and physiology class has become an opportunity for students to challenge themselves, explore future careers, and develop confidence, empathy, and critical thinking skills. With that being said, there's no better way to understand the impact of this course than through the voices and experiences of the students themselves.
I want to pursue a career in nursing, and then at that point I started thinking about what practical classes I could get a preview of in high school that would help me in college. And from my research, a lot of nursing students say that their anatomy classes are particularly challenging for them. So I thought, why not take anatomy as a little preview in high school and get to know it, feel a little more comfortable with the material.
I wanted to major in human physiology. I signed up for anatomy and physiology because I'm also interested in going into a health field. I'm majoring in animal science in college, and learning about different types of anatomy is extremely important to me.
The bone unit, I thought it was really cool to learn the functional parts of the body, like the basis of the body. And then also we went around when all the bones were on the table, it was kind of nice to see the femur, it actually looked like it would fit there. And then also sternum and all that stuff, it was cool to see it actually in real life.
Definitely one of my highlights was when we did the sutures and learning how to stitch up a wound. And also the cat dissection. I feel that was so random, or not random, but random in my head. I never thought I would do something like that in my life. It's so cool seeing all the organs and being able to visually see them and not just on a picture or them being plastic. So
yeah, I'd have to agree with Anna. I feel the cat dissection was definitely one of the most interesting things I've ever done in my whole high school years. I feel I would have never been able to do something like that if I hadn't taken anatomy.
Two of my favorite units were the endocrine system and the reproductive system because I'm interested in women's health.
We're always thinking from multiple perspectives. So we're thinking, okay, how's the patient feeling? How's the patient's family feeling? And what's it like being the medical provider? And we're always thinking from all those perspectives in our classes, our case studies, our career journals. So it's really good reminder, especially as someone who's hoping to be in the healthcare field, that when sometimes you can get overly focused on the medicine, that you are working with people, you're working with patients. So it's important to treat them with respect because someday you might be a patient.
Last year I took AP Bio and I loved that course, but a lot of the things were really small scale. I needed to apply it to actual people or actual issues and how it would work in the body. And this course has really helped me learn how to do that through case studies and then just thinking larger.
I did not take AP Bio, but I feel this course is definitely going to help me. Again, with the suturing, God forbid, I'm anywhere and I need to do that, I will have that skill.
Yeah, for me personally, I want to go into nursing, so I feel this was a really suitable course for me. I learned a lot, and I feel I'm definitely able to apply everything that I've learned to my career and my future.
Also, I would also like to add, I forgot this, that being able to like know more about my body and like how it functions is like empowering in like in case I ever have like a medical emergency or like I'm in the hospital, like I kind of know like generally like what's going on. Like I know what like my blood pressure should be, I know what my temperature should be. Like I know all this stuff now, which is really nice and like comforting to know.
Also, I feel like we've learned like the importance of empathy and like every disease that we've, you know, learned and researched. I feel like that was also very important because we know a lot of our relatives or family, friends like have these diseases. I feel like that was also important.
Next up, we have Tech Ed, and Mr. Darren is here to talk about independent projects and engineering. We have also a guest appearance by Melvin. Go ahead, Mr. Darren.
Hi, welcome, and thank you for having me here tonight. I'm just going to introduce a little bit about the course, and then Jacob, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight due to a conflict. He's actually at the University of Kansas right now, and he let me borrow his robot today just to kind of introduce Melvin as well. So the Independent Projects and Engineering course is a 2-year deep dive course into an engineering problem. And every student in that course has the opportunity to kind of choose their path in a variety of different problems that they like to solve. And Jacob has been in it for 2 years, and he'll talk more about it in his video that we have here. And I just want to talk briefly about the power of choice. The students in this class, because they have the power of choice and what they want to study, they have a passion for learning, and great outcomes come from that, like Melvin the robot. And I've seen it firsthand. When students really care about what they're learning, they learn regardless of some of the barriers that we may be facing. If you think about AI and students are using AI to cheat, well, when they care about what they want to learn, they're going to use AI to learn. They want it to help me. I want to know how to do X, Y, and Z. I want to know how to create, and because it's something that they really care about. So I want to give kids as many opportunities as we can to have that power of choice. And in Jacob's case, it really has led to, he's learned a lot of skills in terms of engineering and design and career readiness. And it's come full circle where his internship right now is at T&J Restorations. It's a car restoration company out of Kansas, and he's doing remote work, and he's designing CAD parts for them right now. He just recently designed a custom intake manifold for I don't even know the year of the vehicle, some old 1930s pickup or something. And he designs it, he 3D prints it, or he sends the part to the people in Kansas and they 3D print it. It's real world application of what people will be doing in real life. And not my words, but Jake's words when he kind of presents Melvin the robot here. There's no instruction manual to this, and kids who have seen this, like, oh, how did you make this? Where are the instructions? It's just an iteration of probably 100 different ideas and iterations of this type of robot, and everything you see here and where he learned the skills to kind of design the parts for the car, he had to design around this. The only things that were really purchased are there's some speakers right here, and there's some internal actual motors. But he had to, in CAD, design every part to fit the motors, for the joints, for the hands, and everything that's metal here was cut on our CNC plasma cutter. So it comes from CAD to manufacturing to real life. And there are motor controllers in here that have to control every single motor and servo. So he's got to do some coding. There's a lot of different aspects that are involved in this, and he loves doing it, and he's grown a lot from it. So I'll stop talking and let Jake do a little talking here.
Hi, my name is Jake Gilbert. I'm a senior, and this is my robot, Melvin. I've been taking tech ed classes all 4 years. The last 2 years, I've been taking independent projects in engineering. Last year, I built a robot that could flip burgers and wave. This year, I built Melvin like this, and I really focused on the question, like, what makes robots intelligent? And yeah, I've learned a lot about robots and how they work and what makes them intelligent, but also a lot about myself and how I learn and what makes me intelligent. For one thing about me that I learned is I just can't stay organized. When I'm building a project like this, I don't naturally just keep notes. And you know, when I solve a problem, I don't write it down. But the beauty of this class is like I had to work on those things, and I had to keep a journal, and I had to check in with Mr. Darren. So he kind of kept me accountable for the problems I would solve and making sure I don't kind of end up in a loop where I just keep solving the same problem again. Another thing that kind of leads into that is getting comfortable with failure. Like, this is my 6th version of Melvin, and every part on him has broken maybe a dozen times. Like his arm, you may have noticed, is missing. Basically, when I was presenting him at our fair, he was controlling himself, so that was like the intelligence. But he decided, this arm needed to explode, so he kind of, motors were smoking. That's the end of that's the story. But the point is, the failure is kind of necessary. It's important, and especially when you're kind of working. When I like to work on projects that don't have answers. So, what makes robots intelligent? Well, no one's ever figured it out before. So knowing that means I'm gonna end up failing a lot. And getting comfortable with that idea, it kind of changed how I think about engineering. And that's gonna apply to my job and my career forever, because I really want to be building robots the rest of my life. And I'm grateful I had this opportunity to kind of figure it out on my own and to figure out what I like and why I like doing it. And that's what the beauty of this class is, like figuring it out for yourself, right? Self-motivation is going to be a long-term fuel in my life, at least, and for my career. So grateful. This is Melvin. All right.
And this is just a list of a wide variety of a number of the other projects that are happening in the same course. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett.
Hi, I'm Allison Mullane. The Social Studies Department wanted to highlight AP Psychology. And if Jacob had taken this class, he would have some good definitions for what it means to be intelligent. They learn content that's applicable to so many different careers. And so it's an opportunity for students to learn about themselves, to learn about mental health and well-being, but from a very scientific lens, not from like an individual fix-it kind of lens, more understanding theory. It gives students an opportunity to develop critical thinking skills, evidence-based writing, analytical skills, and they're tackling real-world problems like ethics with AI and influencing, marketing, like all of these various jobs that students are going to go into. AP Psychology really gives them a foundation for understanding how people think and why they behave the way that they do. And so I'll let a couple of students talk about that.
I decided to take AP Psychology because I've always kind of had an interest in like the neuroscience fields, and I'm really glad that I did take the class because I've learned a lot of new things just relating to the structure of the brain, and it might be what I want to pursue in college.
I wanted to take AP Psych because I'm a writer actually, and I really wanted to know how people react in certain situations and how like the brain does certain things to like different people, so I can just write my characters better. So that was the main reason why I took it. I also thought it would just be a cool thing to take and just like to know. I think this class is gonna help me moving forward with just like getting to know and understand people better, because with this knowledge that I have, I'm able to understand how someone might be feeling, how it might affect them, and like what is actually happening in someone's brain when they're, let's say example, if they're taking drugs or if they have depression or if they have bipolar disorder. I'm able to understand what they're going through because I was able to learn this, and I won't be uneducated if I do meet someone that has that disability.
So many things about how people interact with each other and how in a big group sometimes people's opinions are lost. So it was really helpful to me to like learn how to kind of speak out and know how to use my voice in a group setting.
Students is that projects, they're really fun. It's very interesting to learn not only about a topic, but then like make your own project. There are a lot of things that you're able to connect back to yourself during projects, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a great class. I recommend you taking it.
All right, we have with us tonight from our English department, Erin McCarthy, who's going to talk a little bit about Through the Looking Glass, which was a course that we also started in 24-25, one of the senior electives in literature and at DHS. And she's going to talk a little bit about creative writing as well.
Hi, I'm Erin McCarthy. It's great to be here. So I'm actually going to start with creative writing first, and then imaginative lit. So I have a student here who's going to talk about imaginative lit, although I have a student here who's creative writing too, but I didn't know that. Creative writing is one of our actual elective classes that anybody grades 9 through 12 can take. And one of the most exciting things about it is that, so I've been teaching at DHS for 9 years, and when I first started, we had a very sort of fledgling, struggling creative writing program. We only maximum ran one section per year. So there was maybe a little bit of a lack of interest in English in that sense. People weren't wanting to do it just for fun, to explore kind of their own writing voice. But something has changed. I think students are very much interested in having a space to play with language and their voices, and to just experiment with storytelling. And so the past year and this coming year, we'll have 3 sections of creative writing, including an advanced section, which is so wonderful, because what it means to me is that we have a huge growth in students who want to write because they want to write. And I think that really speaks to the passion of all of the teachers in the English department, and people like Kate who write novels in her spare time. So awesome. So it's really nice to be the teacher of that elective because I get to watch the students do their own thing, and I get to act as a guide on the side there. So that's creative writing. And then imaginative lit is one of my most proud achievements in my time here, because it really started as an idea that I had based on a passion. I was invited a couple, I don't know, 5 years ago, I guess. We were always asked to propose new courses based on gaps, things that we feel like aren't available, or that the students could really use in their educational day-to-day. And I felt like we had tons of classes that offered the opportunity to look very analytically at writing and at literature, but not a ton that asked us to look at it as works of imagination. And so I worked on designing this class over a couple of years, proposed it, you guys all approved it. Yeah. And and now it's running. And what it does basically is it looks at the most imaginative of the writers out there, Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, modern ones who are writing now and evolving the genre constantly. And the students are able to look at how these people, take an idea inside their minds and put it on paper and create something with it. So they really look at literature through that lens, and also have opportunities to then dig through their own imagination, cultivate that sense of perspective, and then create something with it themselves. So I have Brandon Kuo here with me, who took the class this past semester, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about what that was like. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brandon. Not sure I'm going to follow up that amazing speech, Mr. McCarthy, but thank you. I'll try my best though. So as Mr. McCarthy just said, I just wrapped up the Imaginative Literature course, and truly I cannot recommend it anymore for anyone who's thinking about English in general. I think that, I've done a lot of reflection and introspection in these past weeks for various different reasons that I won't get into right now. But one of the things that Darien High School, as I reflect on my experience at Darien High School, is that this school has given me the ability to think, and it's given me the ability to find my voice and share that thinking. And that is something that is going to take me throughout my entire life, I think. So this course, right, and particularly Ms. McCarthy's courses, they give you the ability to write what you want, but then also say what you want. Anyone in Ms. McCarthy's classes would know that all her prompts basically boil down to write whatever you want. There are no instructions. There is no right answer with writing. So many times kids walk into English classes thinking that there is a correct structure, there is a formula to an essay, there is a right way to get the number or grade that you want. And, through Ms. McCarthy's class that I've taken, English 10 Honors, and now Imaginative Lit, I've learned that that's not the case at all. The quote unquote right answer is whatever you think it is. The ideas that you bring to the table. And I think that the English classes there at Darien High School do a great job of that, where instead of saying, okay, let's take a formula and structure the student around that formulaic approach, our classes here show that let's see what's already there and try and make it better. So to that, I have so many thanks to give to Ms. McCarthy for all her classes, where I tell her this all the time, but she has truly changed the trajectory of my life because I'm able to see myself in a different way. I'm able to have my own voice in my life. And throughout any career I take, I'm able to express myself however I want. I think that Darien High School, there's a lot of good stuff about it. And one of the things is definitely saying kids walk away with new perspectives. Whether that be for example, in this class, whether that be making a project out of cardboard to express a literary idea, whether that be to write an essay about storytelling or horror stories, or even watching Blockbuster Sinners by Ryan Coogler. Those are all things that we've done in the class, and it's a very unorthodox approach towards thinking, but it really builds skill better than I've seen in any other class. So, nice idea. I think you really nailed this one. And again, I have so many thanks for this school, but in particular, this department. So thank you very much.
All right, we have Ronnie here, Rodier, to talk about statistics. She's going to think it's going to be a hard act to follow with
Yes.
statistics, but
What a timing.
there's a lot of thinking going on in statistics as well.
Thanks, Brandon, for the setup here. Tonight, I'm excited to share a brief video highlighting two of our growing mathematics electives, which is probability and statistics and AP statistics. In today's increasingly data-driven world, the ability to interpret information, analyze trends, and make evidence-based decisions is really an essential skill, I would argue, in every single field. Statistics provides students with a very different way of thinking about math compared to the traditional pathway that we tend to focus on at DHS, which is algebra and geometry to calculus. Classes in statistics teach students how to evaluate information, draw conclusions, and make informed decisions. As Brandon said, teach them how to think. Skills that are increasingly important today, not only in college and careers, but in everyday life. So in this video, you'll hear directly from our students that are listed right there on the slide as they share their experiences and explain how these courses have impacted the way they think, learn, and apply math to the real world around them.
I started at high school in geometry, and I'm a junior now. So my math teacher recommended it to me, but I wasn't really sure whether to take stat or pre-calc, but stat felt more interesting to me. It sounded like a lot of like big graphs and like business investing stuff, and sounded really scary. Well, recently I just took the SAT,
Oh, yeah.
and it's helped me read through problems more thoroughly and pay attention because I don't want to get tricked by the person giving me the test.
I love that.
To not be afraid to take the class. And it looks really hard at first. Even now, every unit I go into, just seeing it makes no sense. But if you just pay attention in class, take notes, it'll be fine. It's pretty simple. I find the class really fun.
Yay! Oh, well, thank you for the feedback. I really appreciate you.
Math is my favorite subject, and it's my favorite math class I've ever taken.
I did not pay him to say that.
I'm a 12th grade senior right now, and I'm taking Prov and Stat. As much as I had a challenge in math, Prov and Stat makes me extremely focused, as well as my classmates, because it's more hands-on. I think my teacher does a great job, and it's a class that many maths haven't been able to teach me, although I know a lot about algebra and algebra 2 and geometry. Prov and Stat really challenges me to go out in the world and see where I can apply it. So many times, I'm playing a video game with my friend, and he also has the same class with me. There's this curve of the players, and he goes and he looks at me and he's like, Mr. Dooley will like this one, which is my Prov and Stat teacher, and I'm like, that's so funny. It's really a great class. I was able to understand so much throughout the year, and my grade has been amazing because I really feel focused on learning more about probability. I'm currently going to the University of Tampa to study journalism, woohoo. And right now I'm thinking that probability and statistics could help me kind of apply trends, and I'm into fashion right now, and fashion trends that are gonna happen, that are gonna die down, that are gonna recover, and how I could apply probability and statistics to get the right trend value and ask the right questions for who I'm journalizing or what I'm writing about.
So this was my confidence interval project. I wanted to figure out what percentage of the school population takes sleep supplements in the past 2 months to help them sleep. So what I did was I went to a number of classes, or just people in the hallways, and I asked them if they took these sleep supplements. I ended up getting about 40% of these people said that they did. But what I like about statistics is that it lets you kind of vary the data depending on what your need is. So we wanted to get a 95% confidence interval, which meant that we added a margin of error to this number. So ultimately, I calculated that the percentage of DHS students who took sleep supplements in the past 2 months was somewhere between 25.7% and 54.3%.
How has studying statistics helped you in real life and think differently as a mathematician?
It's made me think about when companies are marketing things, how easy it is for them to skew their data to make it seem like what they're selling is really popular, but it could just be the way that they're collecting their data.
For me, in a way, watching sports, when they show the free throw percentage on the screen for the basketball players, it shows 80%. It's oh, he's a lock to make both, but then that's actually only a 64% chance that he makes both of them. So it kind of makes you think about that.
My name is Brian Drunek, and I'm a senior at Darien High School. Right now, I'm taking AP Statistics and AP Calculus, AB. It is a very applicable course. You use concepts in biology, chemistry, all sciences. You also use it in a lot of other humanities classes like finance. You could use it.
Okay, so I am Keith Keeler, one of the assistant principals here, and I have the pleasure of introducing in our World Language Department, our American Sign Language program. And in a moment, I'll be introducing Teresa Rizzo. Just to kind of set this up a little bit though, in reflecting back at all that we've heard today, or tonight rather, the peak performance in a lot of these different fields might be a musical performance, a recitation, a presentation of information, whether it be a scientific understanding or a debate or a presentation. What is really interesting about American Sign Language is that at its peak, it is a silent course. And it's really, in some ways, has a very marked difference from a lot of other world language classes. The world language classes typically are embracing the music, music of a culture, listening to it, being exposed to that. This class is quite silent and fascinating to listen to because there are a lot of layers to American Sign Language, and we're very lucky to have Ms. Rizzo, who will be talking a little bit about that and sharing with some of the ideas from some of her students as well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny when you come in the room and you're like, I don't know what's going on. It's so quiet in here. And that means they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is nice. Hi, I'm Teresa Rizzo. I'm the ASL teacher here. This is my 3rd year. I started out just as my students in ASL class. That was my foreign language as well. So it's kind of like full circle for me to be teaching. But it shows that it could lead to many wonderful careers. So what's great about ASL is it reaches students not served by traditional language pathways. So we do get, students that might not have felt like they could succeed in another language. Just different types of learners might have success with ASL. What I love personally, it builds empathy, confidence, and engagement. Empathy meaning we can look at another population of people and kind of their perspective, and they're able to, a lot of the kids come in and they don't really know anything about the deaf population. So I just love just enlightening them and having them see that perspective and kind of look at accessibility and all these different components that I think are important for them to think about and to like look at somebody else and say, oh, well, this might be difficult for them, and kind of have that perspective. Enhances learning through visual and kinesthetic. So kind of on the same path, I have kids that are like, oh, I like that I can like move. I'm a kinesthetic learner. Very visual. Your grammar is on your face, so it's expressive. So just different way to learn a language, really. Widely accepted by colleges. So there is a misconception, or some of the kids might have initially had like, oh, I'm not sure if college is going to take this, but no, they'll be fine. They'll be accepted into college. I think almost all the colleges that we've asked have, yes, they do take ASL. A lot of them actually like it because it does lean, certain careers it is, beneficial to know ASL. And they can also, if they get the seal of biliteracy, like get college credits towards college, which is also great. 3rd most popular language in the USA. It is American Sign Language. So we have Americans all over using ASL. And I have had kids say, oh, I was actually, I saw a deaf person and I was able to like say something to them. So that's awesome. And as I already mentioned, opens doors to other career pathways, different careers like that. Me taking ASL in high school actually led to my career. I was a teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing, and now I do this. But I have kids who it opens their eyes to different things that they might not have thought of, and can also be assist in helping careers and all sorts of things. So I invited 2 of my wonderful students. One who's Kate, she was one of my first batch of students that, decided to take ASL. So, and Miley, who is from my 2nd batch of students. So I found out that they're friends, and I'm like, oh, so they're going to share a little bit about their experiences and maybe have a conversation, maybe show you some ASL. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Oh, I forgot about the video. Yes, do the video first. There's a video. Yes. Oh, not that one. The video. That, yes.
My goal is becoming a deaf, and I want to still be able to communicate with her through ASL.
I have ADHD, and with ADHD, it's hard because I like to fidget and I like to talk and have a lot of actions, and it helps me do that because it entertains me with signing and talking to my friends with facial expressions.
Hello. I did not realize how much I was gonna get mentioned today. So. Yeah. But hi, my name is Kay McCloskey. Hi, my name is Gina. And I'm gonna be talking about my experience with ASL, and then she's going to sign her experience, and I will translate for you guys. So it was around 8th grade when I learned ASL was a option to take, and I took French for 3 years. And I didn't like it. It was really boring. No offense. Same with Spanish. Again, like I just couldn't find it interesting. I never, like I would see it, so many people taking it. I never thought that would be such an interesting thing. And then I learned about ASL. I thought, wow, that's so different. That's so new. And that's such like a different way of learning, a different way of communicating with people. So I wanted to take it, and I took it, and I've fallen in love with it. I'm going to take it all 4 years of high school. It is definitely something where I can like impress people with, like showing them signs, because a lot of people just don't know what American Sign Language is and like how to communicate and like what it's about. And another thing that was mentioned in the video that I was in is that I am a novelist, I'm a writer. And one thing that ASL is helping with is understanding body language and facial expressions. And that has definitely helped with describing my writing better and how like someone might move, someone's like face might change. And that is just like an unconscious thing that ASL has led to that I'm really grateful for, because it is such like a cool thing to think about that I'm able to like look at someone and like understand what they might be thinking a little bit better than I was when I was a freshman or even as like a sophomore. So I truly love ASL, and I really want to hopefully take it in college. No, hope I get into college. But that is my personal experience with ASL and why I took it. So I'm gonna leave it up to you. Look over there. Look at you. So I wanted to take ASL because I was not talkative. I was alone a lot, shy, quiet. You know, I was staying to myself. I saw that my friend, me, she would talk a lot with ASL and would show me a lot of different signs, new signs, and wanted to learn. I saw that it was cool and unique, and I really liked learning the different interesting ways of how to learn different languages. Yeah. College. I wanted to learn how to be a nurse in college and study. I want to help different kinds of people who are sick, hard of hearing, deaf. Wanted to help. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. Sorry. You just move on to the next slide. So this is the sign for thank you. It's also the sign for good, but depending on the context of your sentence that you were talking about, you'll understand if they're saying good or thank you. So there's, I think, 3. Yeah. So that's a sign for you got this. It's a very encouraging sign, helping people, you know, being nice. And then I think there's one more. And then that's the sign for good night. Again, this is good and thank you. And this is night. And the opposite word for day is like this. So yeah, there you go. There's some signs.
Hey, good evening. I'm Megan Dubé. Thank you so much for having us here. On a personal note, this has just been fantastic. I am so proud of and inspired by our students and my colleagues. And so just really, really pleased to have the opportunity to share this with you. I think you know already because you support it so deeply and can see the magic that happens inside of our classrooms. And so we also wanted to take a moment to highlight some of the wonderful experiences that our students are having through many, many field trips that are supported by our school and by this board. So these are just as a small sampling of some of the things that our students are doing. So our sports marketing class visited MetLife Stadium to put their learning to work. We have a beautiful student-led peer writing center sponsored by our National English Honor Society. And that's peer-to-peer writing support. And so you can see them at a conference at UConn. Our pre-law class visited the Stanford Courthouse to see all of their learning in action. And those are some of our environmental students out on the Sound putting their learning from the classroom to work. And so our field trips are very much taking their in-class learning and applying it in authentic real-world experiences and letting them ask questions of people working in the field and to really experience day-to-day life and some of the career paths that you've chosen. And so it allows them to really create meaningful connections to what they're learning and to what that looks like in real practice, and to inspire critical thinking and promote more passion about these topics. So we're really proud of the ways in which our field trips and our co-curricular opportunities continue to enhance student learning that they start in the classroom and take out into the real world.
Thank you. So we have about 70 clubs that are currently running at DHS, and it's important to highlight, we think, how academically focused some of them are. So all of our clubs are started by students, and our hope is that they go into classrooms, they become curious about a topic or activity, or better yet, passionate about a topic or activity, and then immerse themselves in a club after school. And so you can see some of the great pictures we have up on the screen right now. So Theater 308 visited Broadway, see the Great Gatsby. We have some of our students who've taken a lot of programming courses in our computer programming and computer science. And they went to the Lockheed Martin CodeQuest competition where they were there competing against students from all over the state. They were given 25 scenarios and they had real world scenarios, and on the spot, they had to compete and code against them. Something I don't understand at all, but they are very, very passionate about it. And we're very proud of performing there and just getting that real world experience. We hosted a women's empowerment lunch here for many of our women leaders in the school. Our DECA business club, if we're not at 100 participants right now, we're very, very close. And those are students that are taking all of our marketing courses, all of our business courses, and really can see business as a pathway for them. And maybe it is their pathway and maybe it's not, but they get the real world experience to see for themselves before they start making some decisions for the next steps in their lives. And then to finish it up, the Upstander Brigade this year, this is just, I just have to share a top 3 moment of the year for me. So we have a group of leaders that about 50 students or so. We went down to all 5 elementary schools this year. And these are just students that are just leaders for good, leaders for kindness. And they were going to talk to our 5th graders about being an upstander and how important kindness is, and really giving 5th graders permission to see that being kind is cool, even in high school. And after, I think it was at Henley, maybe I shouldn't have said it, but I think it was at Henley. One of our, most confident seniors, I'd say, walked out of the classroom, and I really took a step back, walked out of the classroom, and he's sweating and his shirt was untucked somehow. And he said, "Mr. Mazzoni, that was so fun." And also, I promise to never give my teacher a hard time again. So again, real world experience. Maybe that's not his pathway, but he crossed something off the list and had a good time. So, 70 clubs is certainly a lot, but so many of them are based in academics, and so many of them are just helping students try to find their pathways through real scenarios.
So I just want to thank all of you for your patience and kindness listening to all of us. We couldn't cut any department out of the presentation. And I think you could see why. We just wanted to celebrate our students and just hear their voices, because we couldn't script it any better for you to have the information about the work that our teachers and students are doing at DHS to inspire. And so I think, we often talk about the vision of the graduate. We look at it on paper, but I think when you reflect on some of the things you heard tonight, you can see elements across all departments and all grade levels. And it's a place of which we are very, very proud. So thank you for indulging us. It's been a joy for us actually to see it all put together, because we don't know exactly what people are going to say when they get up to that microphone. We are always impressed with our students, though. It's really amazing, and I want to thank them especially for the time they put into helping us put this together for you. So thank you.
Thank you all so much, and also to the students for sharing your time with us tonight. And I will personally say this was such an amazing opportunity to really bring to life these very different kinds of elective opportunities that we have at Darien High School. And we as a board, when we have new courses, read a syllabus on paper, but it's a very different thing to actually hear from the students and see the videos of what they've done with it. And not only the students, but I want to actually just highlight, it's really obvious how much of a role the teachers are playing in helping to make sure that the way that they are doing the instruction of the course is allowing the students to have those different opportunities to find their passion and do self-direction and learn how to fail and pick themselves up after they do. And I think it just was really an amazing thing to see tonight. So thank you. I'll open it up to board questions or response. Joanna.
Thank you very much for the presentation. My personal experience is that both my children who are in the high school right now are finding their way based on these elective courses. My son is going to college next year based on something we didn't know he had any ability for in 8th grade. So, it's a testament to the teachers and the department heads and everybody at the high school. My one question is, we have ASR and we have, the engineering 2-year course that we were just shown. Have you ever thought of doing a sort of independent course for any of the arts, film, music, acting, writing, reading, could an independent or capstone project be, Ms. McCluskey's book? Have you ever thought of anything along those lines?
It is something that we've talked about. And to be honest, it sometimes gets stuck in the who's going to be in charge of it debate. And there are department chairs behind me probably thinking Ellen is going to say, this is what I've been asking you guys to work on. So I would like to see a humanities version of ASR to answer your question. Absolutely. And it is something that we've put the departments back on again to find, high schools tend to be very departmentalized places. And so when you're trying to do a cross section, but we have such talented people who could advise, one of the beauties of the ASR program is you don't have to be the expert. The kids become the expert and then you find the mentor that lines up. So I absolutely agree with you. And I don't think that it's preventing our novelists, but it would be nice to create a setting for them to celebrate that all at once. And then the ASR program does that beautifully for 25 years. So I agree with you.
We have a senior right now who's doing a project. He's directed and he's producing production of the show Tick Tick Boom. And that will be on June 5th and 6th. And it's going to be outside in the courtyard, but it's a musical and he's completely from start to finish. He did the casting. He's doing the whole thing.
Are there other board questions or feedback? Comments?
It's great.
Yeah, great presentation from everyone. One of my key takeaways is that there's a lot of things going on at the high school that I don't think that we really are aware of. I got that both from all of the different presentations and all the really cool different subject matters that you're covering. And also when we were there in person, we saw it wasn't even part of the tour, but we saw some kids like taking a car apart and timing themselves on how quickly they can change a tire. Like actual, like real life skills that I think are really important. And, people think about reading, writing and arithmetic, but there's a lot of other things that are being learned at the high school. And I think figuring out how to showcase that better is going to be really to everyone's benefit. So thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to have a chance to say? Okay. Thank you so much. I think this was fantastic. And thank you to the students for taking your time tonight also. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Dennis, seconded by Sarah. I'm going to read what is in the consent agenda for tonight. It's approval of the May 12th minutes, the April 26th financial report and possible action on proposed budget transfers, acceptance of contemplated gift for MMS Quiz Bowl Coach National Tournament travel expenses and IAC tournament janitorial fees, acceptance of contemplated gift for Fitch Academy office and common room furniture, committee reports, and personnel report. I would like to just have a brief discussion first on the proposed financial transfers. And then also, before we do that, I want to thank the Quiz Bowl boosters and also the DHSPA for the gift for Fitch and then for the Quiz Bowl national team, the coach travel expenses. So thank you to both of those organizations. Rich, can you just help us understand the transfer?
So there's one transfer we're requesting for approval. It's for $31,000 for long-term substitutes for an administrator out on leave, on maternity leave. We are requesting that the funds come from unused transportation funds and athletics, savings and unemployment insurance, and the consultant services for the Board of Ed retreat facilitator that was not used.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda or questions from the board? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Do I have a second? Okay, so that's Sarah, seconded by John. All in favor of approving the consent agenda? That is unanimous. Is Katie on? She is. Katie, are you voting to approve the consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I do not believe we have any follow-up action items. We will move to public comment.
Good evening. If you would like to participate in public comment, please approach the podium and wait to be recognized. Once recognized, please state your name and town of residence and note that you'll have up to 3 minutes to comment. We have no public comment at this time.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Joanna, seconded by Dave. All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you.